Okay. In the previous class, we looked at data tables, the one-way and two-way data tables, which we did quite a number of things. We also looked at some form of formatting. Then we also looked at HLOOKUP. So we looked at the data table 1 and data table 2. The video is already on the website. Just have time to go through. It's well explained. We brought in an issue of loan charts, your loan profile, where it shows your principal, it shows your interest, but the whole content of this particular lecture was only to show you how you can use data tables and GOSIC. But I thought that there's need for you to learn certain things that you might not even be asked in your exam, but it would just help you in modeling your own debt in an event that you want to get debt. Do not find yourself in a situation where you are debt stressed because you got more debt than what you'd cover based on your cash available for debt service, what we call CFEDs. So we use the GOSIC and data tables, especially data tables, are the most powerful tools in Excel. We use them for what-if analysis. There are 3 items under what-if analysis. We have data tables, we have GOSIC, and we have scenario manager. So today we'll look at scenario manager. This is why I'm saying the lecture is going to be very short. I'm not a fan of scenario manager, but I'm a huge fan of data tables. Then for GOSIC again, you wouldn't use it effectively in a model, but data tables you would. For GOSIC, it's more like the way the pivot table works. It's instant. You want to know what would be the levels of units that would make you to break even. So you can do your GOSIC thing and you should get your output correctly. So we go to scenario manager. Under scenario manager, you can have as many scenarios as you would possibly dream, but the maximum is 32 scenarios. I don't think you can create a model that goes beyond maybe 6 scenarios. Obviously, you have your current, you have your base, you have your best, you have your worst. You can call them whatever name. You can say aggressive, pessimistic, neutral. It's one and the same thing. So this is what we looked at in terms of your personal loan. Before you get a loan, you first need actually to check the facility that you want to get. Here in this case, we are saying you wanted to actually get a facility of 120. Your annual interest rate 29%. Your amortization monthly is for 36 months, which is 3 years. Obviously, translated in 2 years is 3 years. Here, I can look at this part with you. Those that were not there, just highlight up to the 36th period and delete so that we just start afresh on this. Okay, so on principle, there's a function in Excel which you can use to compute principle. It is called equals PPMT. This function is able to extract the principal component of your loan. It might not matter for your exams, but it matters for your life. This thing of just getting loans without sculpting them is a big problem. And this is why in financial modeling, if you don't know how to sculpt debt, you have very big problems, even for the organization. This is where now, when we are actually sculpting debt for organizations, we'll be looking at very important ratios such as debt to EBITDA, which obviously has to be lower than 6 or lower for companies that are involved in the construction of projects that take more than 3 years to build. For smaller companies like Tamara and Company, the debt EBITDA has to be about 3 to 3.5. Because then you're actually saying that you can only take about 3.5 years to amortize your debt based on your EBITDA that you're actually getting. For a country, what we would call debt EBITDA, and I'll explain this, could actually be about 10 years because they get these loans that take longer period to fully amortize. So when you're actually looking at EBITDA, basically you're looking at your operating cash. That is what you're looking at. After you have paid all your operating costs, what you remain with is your EBITDA. And you need to establish your EBITDA cushion. So whenever you're getting loans, there are certain covenants that you actually need to abide to sign up for. So this is why debt management, as you move on now, getting inspired to get into the world of financial modeling, you cannot do modeling in real life without understanding debt modeling. So you need to know the debt service cover ratio, you need to know the fixed charge ratio, the interest coverage ratio, and its EBITDA cushion on each and every component. So here you want to find the rate. So obviously you pick your H5, but this is an annual rate. So you have to divide by 12 because your payments are monthly. If your payments were quarterly, you're going to divide by 4. Then you go to what you call this. It specifies the period and must be in the range 1 to whatever. So under this, and under this, obviously, we are going to pick the period 1. We are not going to lock it because we want it to move. So the number of periods, we know that the number of periods are 36. You lock, which locking is putting dollar signs, Michael. You put a dollar sign before H and you put a dollar sign before the row number. I'll certainly have some class with you. There are a number of people who are actually still learning the first component, the first program, but you go on our website and start from lecture number 1. Then the present value, this is your loan facility, and all these are mandatory apart from the last, the future value. And the way you get to know when you open the syntax argument, this box. So I even assumed as if everyone knows how to open this. All we are actually doing, Michael, sorry, I'll say equals ppmt. Then once you sit in blue, you tab. Then you come to fx here and press that, fx. We'll go to shortcuts later once you gain some confidence. So on the rate, we're actually saying you pick your 29%, sorry. You lock it, you put your dollar signs, but the shortcut is key F4. You press F4. If it cannot work, you press FN F4. At least at some point, it's going to work. Then the period here, we're actually picking 1. We are not going to lock. The number of periods is 36. Again, we put the dollar signs. You press F4 key.
Coach, the rate you said we divide by the number of months.
By 12 because it's annual. Thank you. Then the present value, we're actually picking, this is your loan amount, which you have convinced your husband, you have convinced your wife that you will be getting 120,000 from Barclays or from Zanaco for your house project. At first, you don't even care how it is going to be paid. Then you come to the academy now, Coach Carter tells you, no, you have to scout this debt. You need to actually check your cash, your CFED, which is your cash flow available for debt service, to see whether you should be in a position to pay this debt without defaulting. So now, after you have learned this concept, you go and change yourself at home. You say, no, honey, I don't know how you call each other. Whatever. We need to first check how much we are going to how much money that we will remain with, which we can actually be able to use to cover our debt. But however, let's develop a small model. You are just regurgitating or plagiarizing what Coach Kat has done. So you have this number, but you see, we don't want it to be a negative this side, so we are going to put a negative. So this is what principal that you have to pay. Your interest would be equals IPMT. IPMT, you tab, and again, you come to FX here there. You start with the rate, you do the same thing that you did. You lock, divide by 12. You come to the period, you pick that one. The number of periods, you pick 36, you lock. The present value is the loan facility. From today onwards, don't get a loan without sculpting, without checking whether it is correct, whether it makes a lot of sense. Then you can put your negative just after the equal sign. This is not today's topic. Today's topic is on scenario manager, but you'll see how we're going to blend it. Having done that, you can copy and go up row number 36. Not row number 36, but period number 36, because it's 3 years, and you press in there. So the way loans work, the first few months of your loan amortization or your loan payments, not really amortization, because amortization is only looking at principal, but your loan payments, the first few months, you'll be working for interest. You'll be paying more interest than principal. Therefore, the rate at which your loan is actually being eaten into is very low. So if you check on this, I just do like that, highlight the whole thing. Then if you want to use to come up with a chart, a quick chart that you just want to check, you can press F11 key. The F11 key, it gives you a quick chart. It's a shortcut to a chart. So you can see that in the first few, if not about 6 months before you break even, in the first 6 months of this loan, you are eating more on interest. You're not eating your principal. Your outstanding balance is almost remaining at the same level, but you're paying more interest. In the 7th, this is where now you are actually trying to break even, where by the interest payment and the principal payments are almost at the same level. But as you start now going chopping your loan, your outstanding balance, you will find a situation where the principal, once you pay, you're paying the same amount, but the rate at which you are fully reducing your outstanding balance becomes much faster. You can see how it is out there. That is how all loans are structured. Maybe not all loans, most of the loans, that is how they are structured. Because your interest starts actually eating on your outstanding balance. So this is why your interest levels start going down. But there are also certain ways in which a loan can be structured in such a way that the interest payments remain fixed. But that will be a very bad way of structuring a loan. But all these loans that you do, your personal loans, even companies, this is how they are structured. Mm-hmm. So, Freda, how are you? I miss you. How have you been? Say hi, say hi.
Hi, how are you? Oh, you came to say hi to us today. You want to teach us as well? Okay, you should ask Daddy to teach you, okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so these are your monthly payments, your 5. You can still use another formula to find your monthly payments, which is PMT. All you're saying is a payment. You're looking at the payment, the total payment. So you can do like that and say, so you do the same thing, your rate is there, divide by 12. The number of payments, which is 36, the present value, which is 120,000. You pray, then maybe we can say after the equal sign, we type in a negative, and it gives us this. This is the payment that you will be making. But now imagine that this is the payment you'll be making, and yet your salary of, say, 10,000, after you pay rentals, you pay all these, you also pay Chicago's and all these other, what we call senior activities, you only remain with 4,000, and you want to get a loan where you'll be actually spending 5,000 every month, then you find yourself in problems. We have all found ourselves in problems. So it's also important just to scout it. This is why you have to bring in your GoSeek and all that, which I don't want to show you on GoSeek because I want you to go to the video and actually watch it. Now, we can then now bring in the scenario managers. So let's go to data. Like I said, it's a quick lecture. Let's go to data. Let's go to what if analysis. Under what if analysis, there are 3 candidates there. You have the scenario manager, you have the goal seek and data table. I'm particularly not a fan of scenario managers, but I think it's still important for you because this is examinable. Your goal seek is examinable. Your data tables, you just also need to know that, because that's the most important feature in Excel, at least from my opinion. So you pick your scenario manager. So pick your scenario manager. Currently, there are no scenarios that have been defined. Are you there? Okay, so you pick the scenario manager. Under the scenario manager, we first add the first scenario that we want to see. So we'll say the first scenario we want to see the best scenario, best. But which cells do we want to be changing? We want cells we want to be changing on the amortization rate and the amortization monthly. So you can highlight them like this. If say you are picking other scenarios, the components that you want to have under this scenario, and they are not close to each other, you can still type a comma, you can pick whatever scenario that you want to pick. Or you can put them like what I have done. So here, we can now press OK and define those scenarios. So what is coming in is what we already have, the current scenario. But we are saying if it's the best case scenario, let's say this best case scenario is 0.25, which is about 25% interest, right? And with maybe an extended payment of, say, for example, 60, which is 5 years, it's relaxed. The annual interest is 25%, but the amortization, monthly you amortize for 60, for 60 months, which is 5 years. This is your best case scenario. You press OK. Then you again add another scenario. After that, doing the best, you add another scenario. This scenario, what we want is that was the best. Was it the best or best? I think it was the best. So we pick in the best, maybe. So it has already picked these two, which is H5, H6. So we go that side. Here, this is the best. We say it's about 20% interest rate. Like in Botswana, it's actually under 15% borrowing rates. In Zambia, we're at 28, about 0.7. So then this is the best case, maybe still about 60. Or yeah, 60, we can say 60. Press OK. You can add here or press OK. Then again, add the last one, which we are going to call as the worst. I should have even been completing this. If say I say worst case, we'll edit that. So we go to OK. Here, the worst case will say, suppose the interest rates go up to 35% and the monthly amortization, total amortization for 36 months. So press OK. So if you have realized that what you did, you needed to amend, you can just go to edit. Under edit, here we say best case. We press OK. We press OK. We go to best Again, we say edit. You go to base case, you type like this and press OK. Press OK. Now that you have all the three scenarios, you can then go to the summary. You can press on the summary. Just press on the summary. So you go to summary and press there. So it will show the summary, scenario pivot table report, but you want it as a scenario summary. Then press OK. So you can see that on the current level where interest rate is is 29% and the amortization period is for 36 months, you'll be paying a 5,028 kwacha 69 ingwe in terms of your repayments, and you're actually getting, after making all these payments and spending on other operational activities, you remain with about maybe 4,000. Then you have realized that you're going to have a problem with this. So you've created scenarios. So then you can go to your best case. So your best case is showing that if your interest is at best case, if your interest is at 25% and the amortization period is extended instead of 3 years to 5 years, this is what you'll be paying. Then you go on to check in terms of your best case scenario, which is just 20% interest and paying for 60 months. It takes you to this, or the worst case scenario where the interest is at 35% and the amortization period is for 36 months, sorry. This is what you'll be paying. But you can create scenarios up to the maximum of 32. But I don't know what type of model that would be, having so many scenarios that would just confuse you and maybe compromise the quality of the model that you have developed.
Excuse me, coach.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but my figures are negative.
They are negative. They are negative simply because when I told you to say here, before your formula, you put a negative to convert them, because they are payments, they are cash outflows. We want to have them as positives.
Oh.
So once you change that, you will see your scenarios. Also, once you click, you can still go back. You don't need now to create that scenario. All you do, you go back to the scenario manager. It's already here, and all you do is just to show the summary.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it will bring the new
Yes, to bring another thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you, coach.
Mm-hmm. Okay, as usual, as long as there are no assignments, lectures are not oversubscribed. So I'll end here. You'll see the video, I think, in the next 1 hour. We'll have to post it. So see you on Wednesday. I might call for a lecture for the new students on Tuesday, but apparently I know they will not show up. So I have a trick. The trick that I'm going to bring in now, you should tell them. Let me even just